All right, ladies, we are at cruising altitude. How's your experience so far?
Smooth sailing.
Let me know if you guys need anything. I'm here for you all.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Again, Timbers.
Oh, yeah.
Ow. That was a shot right to the mouth.
There's so much fight on the court right now.
She's super competitive. She can get riled up. When she's on the court, she's been called by a lot of other people as the biggest trash talker they've ever seen.
My advice has always been, don't just start any type of trash talk or, just play, let your game do the talking. However, if they start with you, you can finish it.
Cam she's competitive. She wants to win, and she can talk a little smack. That's true. She can back it up.
She's one hell of a competitor, but you'd never know it looking at her. You'd have to know her to know when she's really getting aggressive.
I don't know. I think I don't play anymore. I couldn't handle during the WNBA and how it changed. It got so physical that I'm like, are we playing basketball here?
Oh my God.
When people watch, I have people tell me all the time, oh my God, I didn't know this was like this. I went back and forth with those guys to Minnesota and Brooklyn, and it was draining. It was a fight. There are some physical players and some great athletes. Unbelievable.
The women's game is more appealing when it's not grabbing and holding. And John Wooden would say the same thing about men's basketball. Actually, Naismith was instructed to invent a game that was not football. If the game itself allows for too much physicality, it will not show the athleticism and the beauty of the women's game.
I didn't know Naismith was tasked with making the game less like football and less physical, more graceful.
Yeah, I had no idea about that. Tara always knows some facts. But,
Well, I knew.
Oh, did you?
I knew. Nope, I didn't.
The conversation around physicality is very much a thing, I think, because it is definitely evolving. But there was just something different about the physicality I experienced when I first entered the W, and I feel like it was physicality that was more indicative of game play, basketball plays. I think now there's a little bit more character to the physicality that might be what we all experience, especially as front court athletes. I don't know. How do you guys feel? Do you want it to be more physical?
No.
I mean, you took that hit pretty well.
Yeah,
you ate that.
Take it like a champ.
Ate that.
But I think that it is interesting. When I first came into the league, I remember being like, wow, this is different. Mm-hmm. But also in training camp, players were fighting for jobs.
Right.
Yeah.
So then it's just a whole different level of women's strength. There's a freedom of movement saying that it's not happening as much on the court, and I think that's the part where we need to get back to.
And especially us all being power forwards, this is the most competitive position in the league. And what I was taught as a rookie is don't let them catch it at the pinch. You push them out as far as you can. You make it as hard as possible. You do everything you can to make catches really hard for other players. So yeah, it adds up. It adds up on our bodies, and that's why I'm glad I'm not making the decisions, because it's tough. It's how do you balance that? How do you keep, the competitiveness while also, letting us move freely? It's hard, but I definitely feel like there needs to be a little bit more freedom of movement.
The flow of the game gets a little bit choppy when it is really physical. But at the same time, people are seeing us compete, Right. Sometimes people are really gonna get hit or fouled hard because we don't want to give up any easy baskets.
Yeah. We're taught to do that, not make it an and one.
Right.
Don't give them an and one.
Right.
I feel like also the narrative that certain players get, more hits, they're beat up more. I think that narrative needs to go in women's sports, because you look at any other league, men or women, the people that are at the top, that have won an award, an MVP, you know, people are competitive and they want to go for their spot and they want to compete. And that's honestly, to me, out of respect. That's just sports. And I feel like if people don't get it, you don't get sports.
Yeah.
Like, because we're all fours and stretch fours, like, if you think about it defensively, most teams are switching all the time. So you're switching and you're like right into your next person. Like you're on the ball or you're getting under the screen. So it's like, you're creating that. It's the best league in the world. So it's gonna be physical.
You wanted valuation of franchises to go up. You wanted quality of players' life to go up. You wanted more money. It's all happening.
Being an athlete and being a mom, it's hard, but like, she just wants the best for them.
There's nothing they'd rather do than be with those kids.
Ruby is a mini Stewie, which, lucky me, huh? Since she became a mom, she has changed a lot, but her mentality is the same, winner mentality, regardless of like what's going on.
Brink a slot three. She can hooping. Here's Brink.
Looks like Brink just lost her footing. She's in a lot of pain.
How about the entire team coming over to help out?
I remember when it happened, I was very much trying to tell myself, like, you know, it's going to be okay. She'll be okay. It's probably just a strain. Unfortunately, you know, it wasn't. It was ended up being pretty bad.
It's clearly an emotional thing because she's worked so hard. We clicked into rehab mode the minute it happened.
Definitely a really difficult first couple months.
She went through all the things that you would expect any athlete who gets injured goes through.
You know, as rough as this is, there is no denying that. You have to tell yourself that something good will come from this. And, you know, if you look hard enough, maybe something has.
She was like, oh my God, the Eiffel Tower. And then she noticed the photographer first. And I was like, oh, good to see you. And then she noticed me and then just like kind of crumbled. So from there, you know, it was just a beautiful moment. Got to say a few words and she said yes. So.
She gets labeled as responsible, role model, leader, president, everything. But I think sometimes she gets a little bit of a knock on that.
We grew up being like saying like they should lower the rim, they should do this, y'all should wear skirts, y'all should wear booty shorts, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh God. And I'm just kind of like, we're playing basketball.
Right. That's a lot of weight on her shoulders, but she's gotten so good at carrying it, you know? She's even able to do it for multiple thousands of girls watching her play.
Here we go. The 2024 WNBA Finals. 1 second to go. This for the lead. In and out. Rebound Minnesota.
She doesn't want to let people down. She wanted to win so badly. She came back home, she watched the whole game.
When she had to do that again after missing those two, I couldn't look. I taught her to bounce the ball 3 times and then go, do a big exhale, get the stress out, and shoot.
28 years in the making. The New York Liberty are WNBA champions.
It's very surreal just when you think back about how this whole journey has gone, and absolutely makes me proud.
Shoot, that series was fire, Stu.
Stressful.
Seemed like it was pretty chill.
Oh, did it? Oh, did it?
Super low stakes.
Yeah, honestly, that was like the highest pressure situation I've ever been in. Game 5, free throws to force it to overtime. But the city like showed up and showed out. Bringing the first championship back to New York is something that I wanted to do since I went there.
What would you say the difference between winning in college and the W is?
College, you like have your coaches and your schedule and your classes and all these things, and everyone's helping you kind of navigate and get there. And when you get to the W, it's like you're a pro. You're playing against the best of the best every single night. Like I remember my rookie year, my first game ever was against the Sparks. And I was like, this is gonna be great. I'm gonna play against Nneka and Candace and, you know, like I just won a championship in college and we're just gonna start off like that. So we got smoked.
Yeah, I feel like college, like they're very much holding your hand, and then once You know, you play that last game your senior year, they just let go, and you're just kind of like, well, where do I go now? What do I do? And how do I transition from one season to another immediately? Like, it is so tough.
Yeah.
So.
That pressure can become a lot, especially when you're consistently good. As you know, like, there's this idea of like, okay, let's keep the team the same. Let's keep going. Let's keep doing it again. You could have the exact same team do the exact same thing, and it would be a completely different outcome. The beauty in the pros is creating it. And that's hard. And I think that that's what makes people like Stewie so great, because where she goes, the greatness is created. It's not necessarily formulated with the help of, other people. So.
After watching what we saw, I feel like what I felt from you, mine was a little bit the opposite. In 2018, I was like the highest of the high. We just won, like MVP, all these things. And 3 months later, I ruptured my Achilles. And then it's like rock bottom. And for you getting injured, I'm sure you were like, there's nothing any lower than this. But then at the same time, in the same year, you get engaged.
I've been telling myself a lot that two things can be true at once. And also to kind of reframe, I guess, the negativity around injury. I think people kind of make it feel like a death sentence. I'm sure people made your injury feel like that. But it's an occupational hazard. That's what I tell myself. It's a part of the game, and thousands of people tear their ACLs, so it's just a part of life. It's been a really hard time for me, but I'm starting my own family, which I'm really excited about. Ben is everything I want in a husband, and seeing your family is what we want. So people kind of look into my life and they see that it's like very full, which it is, but it also can be really hard. So I think people just need to give others grace because they don't know what people are going through. But I think at the end of the day, I do know that life is so beautiful and I'm gonna marry the love of my life. So I'll get through this, and like there's just more great things to come.
Every disappointment can be a blessing.
Every disappointment is a blessing. Yeah, I love that press conference where you say, we're playing basketball. We're not here to show our bodies, we're here strictly as hoopers. While we are businesswomen, we are moms, we're daughters, but we are basketball players at our core when we are playing basketball. And I love that you said that. I think it's so important.
This is a conversation point since the league's inception, or even since women just started playing basketball, It's never made sense to me if we have a sport that exists, we have people that are being great in the sport, and it's the onus is still on us to make it better. I'm just kind of like, this is literally the highest level that you could be playing, but you're still looking at us for solutions. Like, how can we support? How can it be more popular? Well, I mean, watch it.
Literally.
Go to a game, and let us exist in our intersections, and don't try to force everybody into some cookie cutter way that you feel because of how women are regarded in society should work for something that we've made our own. That's why I love where we are today, because of the differences in every single person. We talk about moms, we talk about the many things that we are, foundationally, we're all basketball players, but there's so much more that each one of us does. And the right people who want to follow us are going to follow us. They're going to love our sport for what it is and also love us for who we are, or not.
Which is fine.
Which is totally fine. I think existing in the nuance is what's important for women's sports.
And that's why she's our president. Bang, bang.
Madam President.
Relax.
That was...
Charter.
Let me tell you, I'm not gonna lie, you guys, I never thought that I would be in the league when that happened.
But I have like this guilt. I felt just so bad.
She really wanted to get my attention there. Can't wait to text her about it afterwards.
Are you proud of yourself?